guys to a new series that I'm going to be doing throughout the season, and it's going to be a race review for all of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races this season. So, last night was the Sprint Unlimited, which was won by Denny Hamlin, and he had a really up and down night. At the beginning of the race, Denny Hamlin decided to lay back and not really fight for much, as he wanted to stay out of trouble because there was a lot of 2 and 3 wide racing in the beginning of the race. So he wanted to avoid all the wrecking that he thought was going to happen. But what ended up happening was Ricky Stenhouse, the driver, the number 17, lost a right rear tire, and he ended up spinning out, and Hamlin was riding back there with him, and those two were drafting together. And when Stenhouse had the right front go down, he got loose and hit Hamlin in the right side door. Stenhouse had a lot of damage, was basically done for the night, but he would recover to get a 6th place finish. But Hamlin, on the other hand, did not have any damage that was major or severe enough to stop his performance. And then when he got to the lead, he stayed out with about 20 or 30 to go. And that allowed Hamlin to take the lead that he would not really surrender for the remainder of the race, as he had to fight off Brad Keselowski, like Joey Logano, Paul Menard at one point. So he didn't have much. He had to hold off some drivers, and he did that. Joey Logano, he started from the back, worked his way up to the front, and he had a good race. We expected him up front. Paul Menard really snuck up out of nowhere there toward the end, and he ended up getting he almost got the lead. He had a huge head of steam after they came to the white flag, and he had a huge head of steam. He could have made it 3 wide on Hamlin, but Hamlin had the defensive line and made sure Menard didn't make it 3 wide. And then they wrecked in turn 1, and that brought out the caution, as they had the new overtime rule implemented. And it was really tough to see, as he really didn't do much, but he was a factor at the end, which could lead to a good 500 running. Larson was in 4th. He had a good night. He ran up front most of the night. I don't think he ever really got to the lead, but he was battling for the lead most of the night. Very good run for him. You have Casey Mears running out the top 5. That's a nice race for him, as a good finish could really give him some momentum going towards the end of the speed weeks. We had Ricky Stenhouse. We talked about him in 6th. Kurt Busch in 7th. He wasn't really a factor all race. Austin Dillon wasn't. Brad Keselowski started on the outside of the front row. He was up there for a while. Just wasn't there at the end. He got caught up in that last lap crash. Greg Biffle, he wasn't really talked about. He got caught up in a wreck. Danica Patrick was not relevant. We had Matt Kenseth. He was running up the front late too, until he got caught up in the wreck on the backstretch, which was huge, caused by Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski making contact, and a big one struck. Martin Truex was really quiet all night. I thought we would hear more of him throughout the race, but his ride never sank in, and he could never really get to the front. We had in 14th, we had Jamie McMurray. He was making some nice, bold, aggressive moves, way you'd expect in the Unlimited. but he got caught up in the wreck. Dale Jr. got caught up in the big wreck when Brian Vickers blew a right rear tire and spun right in the middle of the field, and that collected 6 drivers, I believe, were collected in that one, and that put him way lap down as his right side was all shredded all to pieces. Carl Edwards were 16th. He had a great car. Just got caught up in that incident with Brad Keselowski, which put him behind the wall, which set up the overtime. Kyle Busch was collected in that crash. He was in the middle of the pack most of the day. Eric Almirola, he got caught up in that crash. He was in the middle of the pack most of the day. Ryan Newman, same for him. 20th was Casey Kane, wasn't really much of a factor. Bad night for the Hendrick cars as they all got caught up in wrecks. AJ Allmendinger, he got caught up in that initial wreck with Brian Vickers. Jimmy Johnson got wrecked when he and Casey Mears made some contact, and Johnson overcorrected, and he went into the inside, tearing up his whole front end, which sent him out for the race. Clint Bowyer got caught up in that first wreck. He just got tagged when, I believe, Vickers came down. He just got tagged and barely got collected. It was a shame for Vickers. And then Vickers, he blew the right rear. He looked like he wasn't used to the pack racing, which was really surprised. Well, not surprising, but he was not ready for the pack racing. It looked like he was all over the place, and then the right rear went down in the middle of the field. Harvick, he got collected in it. He was the first one to run into Vickers when he spun out, and it pretty much ended Harvick's night early, as he was one of the pre-race favorites, as he's won the Unlimited 3 times. So Denny Hamlin wins, and I'd like to say congratulations to Denny Hamlin, and I'll see you for another race review. I'll see you for another race review for the. I might not do the duels, but if I don't do the duels, then it'll definitely be for the 500. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.